Imagine this. You walk into a hospital, and the woman holding the mop turns out to be the person who once raised you like her own child. Sounds like a Hollywood movie twist, right? Except this actually happened to the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré. And what happened next shook an entire nation. Before starting the video, let us know that from which country you are watching the video. This isn't just a story about a hospital. It's about memory, sacrifice, and what true leadership looks like. So let me take you inside the moment when a world leader found his forgotten second mother, a woman the world had ignored. The sun was barely up over Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's capital. Normally, Ibrahim Traoré's mornings are packed with meetings, briefings, and state matters. But on this day, something pulled at him. Instead of sitting in an air-conditioned office, he wanted to see what life was really like for his people. No warning. No official announcement. Just a quiet decision. Take me to Yalgado Hospital. Now, think about that for a second. Can you imagine a U.S. president just ditching the motorcade and showing up at a public hospital unannounced? No press team, no red carpet, just walking into the chaos to see what everyday Americans, or in this case, everyday Burkinabe, live through. That's what Traoré did. He showed up in a plain shirt, no fanfare, only two quiet guards. The hospital director rushed to meet him, panicking. "Mr. President, if we'd known, we would have prepared." But Traoré stopped him cold. "That's exactly why I didn't tell you. Show me the truth, not a performance." The hallways were overflowing, patients waiting on benches and on the floor, mothers clutching their sick children, old men leaning against walls, eyes full of exhaustion. Some recognized the president and lit up with hope. Others, too tired or too sick, didn't even look up. He stopped anyway. He knelt to talk to mothers. He shook hands with elders. He promised, "We're working to make this better." But what he saw wasn't easy to swallow. Rusted equipment, empty medicine shelves, cracked paint, water dripping from the ceiling. And yet, the staff still fought every day to save lives with what little they had. One of the doctors invited him into the intensive care unit. Traoré followed through the maze of corridors, eyes wide open, taking it all in. And then, it happened. His shoe slipped on a wet patch. He nearly fell. A voice called out quickly, "Be careful, I just cleaned there." He turned and saw her, an older woman in a faded blue cleaning uniform, mop and bucket by her side. Head down, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, sir." Most presidents would have walked past without a second thought. But something about her voice, the way she carried herself on, froze him. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked up slowly. "My name is Aminata." And in that instant, his world tilted. Something about that name, that face. It pulled at his memory like a whisper from the past. He kept walking with the doctors, but his mind stayed stuck on her. Who was this woman? Why did her voice feel so familiar? Later, he saw her again in another hallway. This time, he stopped. "How long have you worked here?" he asked. 23 years, she answered softly. "And where are you from?" "From Kwayogo, in the north." Kwayogo, that was his childhood village, the place where he had lived after his father's death. His chest tightened. He asked her carefully, "Did you know a woman named Fatima?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, she was your mother." The air between them froze. The noise of the hospital faded into silence. And in that silence, the truth began to surface. Later, in her small house in the city, Aminata opened an old wooden box. Inside was a tiny bracelet, colorful beads, blessed long ago by the village healer. "You wore this as a child," she whispered. "Your mother gave it to me before she died. She asked me to protect you." And suddenly the puzzle pieces clicked. Memories came rushing back. Lullabies, scraped knees, stories by the fire. The woman he had called Mama Nina in his childhood was standing right there in front of him. She wasn't just some cleaner in a hospital. She was the woman who had raised him when his mother was too sick to do so. She had loved him like her own son. And then, when relatives took him away, life had forced them apart. Decades passed. She never tried to push her way into his new life. She worked humbly, quietly, in the background of society. And fate, or maybe destiny, brought them back together on that wet hospital floor. Can you imagine that? Think about a U.S. president walking into a hospital and realizing the janitor was the woman who once raised him. That's not a CNN headline. That's a scene out of a movie. But for Burkina Faso, it was real life. For Traore, it wasn't just nostalgia. It was a gut punch. How could the woman who once fed him, bathed him, carried him through sickness, be living out her old age, scrubbing hospital floors? He made a decision. Right then and there. This was not going to stand. He visited her again. This time not as the president, but as the boy she once raised. He promised her dignity. He promised her peace. And he followed through. Within weeks, Aminata and her niece were moved into a new home. Nothing flashy, but safe, comfortable, and worthy of her years of sacrifice. She was given retirement with a pension. No more buckets, no more scrubbing, floors. But he didn't stop there. He stood before the nation, live on TV, and told everyone, "This woman, Aminata, was my second mother. She represents millions of women who quietly hold families, villages, entire nations together without ever being recognized." And right there, he launched the Root of the Heart Foundation to support women like her, the invisible backbone of society. Now, pause for a second. Let's connect this to America. How many times have you walked past the janitor, the cafeteria worker, the night shift nurse, without ever thinking about their story? What if the woman cleaning the hospital floor once saved a president's life? What if the man pushing the mop down your school hallway raised 3 kids alone after working double shifts? We live in a world where the powerful sit in high towers, while the people who actually hold society together remain invisible. And this story, Traore and Aminata, smashes that wall of invisibility wide open, because greatness isn't just about titles or offices. It's about remembering where you came from, and never forgetting the hands that lifted you when you couldn't stand on your own. When this story aired, it spread like wildfire, across Africa, across the world, and now, to you. So let me leave you with this. If you were in Traore's shoes, the president of a nation, and you suddenly came face to face with the person who once raised you in secret, what would you do? Would you step up and honor them? Or would you turn away, pretend you didn't recognize them, and keep walking? Tell me in the comments. Because this isn't just about Burkina Faso. It's about all of us, here in America, too. And remember, real power isn't about how high you climb. It's about never forgetting the people who gave you your first step. This is Traore versus America. If this story moved you, share it. Because somewhere out there, another Aminata is still unseen.